Happy Sunday, one and all. How goes it? So, today I've got a couple hours. We'll see what I can get done in a couple of hours' time. I don't know what everybody's weekend was like, but hopefully it was good as we're wrapping up the weekend here. You know, everybody needs to have some time off, to get their brain in line and their body re-energized for the week. Now I know some areas of the world get their days are a little bit different, and some here in the U.S. have weeks that don't give you a free weekend. And I feel for you, but I still hope you find time to get yourself regenerated at some point during the week. Not everybody has the opportunity to acknowledge the Sabbath, with work being the way it is. Now, you might say, "Oh, he must be Jewish." Well, no, I'm not Jewish, but I am Christian, and I just tend to choose the Sabbath, which would be Saturday, by the way, not Sunday, as my day of rest. But hey, everybody's got to have their own day of rest, and I think it's a good practice, even for all of those that would not consider themselves Christian, Jewish, or anything of that sort, because your body needs time to rest, so you can redirect your mind every now and then. Get your let your body refocus on other things, the spice of life. But anyway, so let's get some work done. So last time I've been working this last week or so on a variety of different items. And one of those was trying to get the back end going. I did a lot of refactoring and a lot of rebuilding. But part of that was also to try to get a play creator. Oops, wrong one. Dang it. Did I just open that twice? Hope not. I think I may have just opened it twice. Trying to get a play creator going that allowed me to put plays in. And if I can get some plays into the system, then I can start creating actual game plans that allow me to start working on the next piece, which is getting the coach simulator working, the coach component. Ultimately, what the grand scheme, the grand goal is to create a setup where I am passing back all of the information, that I'm able to grab all the information required for the front end to render the game. Render the simulation, render the outputs, and while I'm at it, I'm building front end components in the web to allow me to do some of the basic parts of that. Now, I won't get the full-on application side of things working until I move over to the Android front end, where I'll be using my Unity game engine, so which I haven't created anything. I'm not creating my own game engine. I'm using Unity, and I'm hoping I can figure it out. Now, that said, I actually met a guy online the other day when I was playing Marvel Snap, and he said I don't know, when he says we, I don't know who we is. He and whoever he works with or for or whatever developed a football game that's on the Android, and it's called Super Tiny Football. Now, I don't know that I had ever play tested Super Tiny Football. I feel like I'd seen it, but I think it only has a 3.8 rating, so I was trying to play. There was a lot of games online, so I was trying to stick with the 4 plus. It has a 3.8 rating, and I didn't really see what the main problems were until, I didn't read the reviews to determine why it was only a 3.8 rating. I gotta update some stuff here. Yeah, that's probably not needed right now. So I can't tell you why it was the 3.8 rating until I looked at it, and I could tell you why I wouldn't give it a high. Really, what it comes down to is if you've ever played Retro Bowl, it's like a better looking version of Retro Bowl with a lot of paywalls, a lot of things that block you from being able to really make your team better. There's not a lot of back-end game management. You're not doing a lot of the data team management. There's a little bit. You got some basic stuff. You can upgrade this or that or the other thing. but a lot of it is paywall centric. You can earn stuff, you can earn some points here and there, but it plays like Retro Bowl. There's no defensive simulation, that kind of thing. So as far as competition goes, it's a different game altogether. So it wouldn't be anything that, I mean, no more competition than any other football game out there would be, right? And as I'm designing this game, it's not going to be, I don't know. I try to tell people what my game is how would I describe the football game I am developing? And I've been trying to come up with a good, succinct, what they say, the pitch line. It's basically got to be one or two, or one line or one sentence. And a lot of times it's blah, blah, blah meets blah, blah, blah. That's kind of what it comes down to, So it's like Madden, front office football, and Lord of the Rings. that's what comes to mind when I think of my game. It's if Madden and front office football had a baby in the world of fantasy. That's kind of what I would almost say this game is going to be. It's not there yet. And so basically it's not going to be any of those, okay? It's not going to be front office football. It's going to do a lot of stuff that it does, but it's not going to have the same depth of team management. It'll have a good amount. It'll be more than you get from games like Retro Bowl or Super Tiny Football or even a lot of those games. There's also like Football Head Coach 25, I think, or Football. I want to say Football. What is the name of it? I don't know. It's a game I've played on multiple occasions. I played it for a little while, but I kept running into the same problem where it's got the ceiling of cards, and it's just upgrade cards by spending money or getting tokens and just keep, and you just throw cards into a game and they do whatever. I like Big Win Football. It's kind of, I would say it's, honestly, it's not just those two. It's going to be a mix of like 3 or 4 different styles of games set in a fantasy world. And that's what you're going to get. I hope you like it. I hope you're willing to check it out. But that said, we're not there yet, and I'm slowly going to start. I keep adding more and more theme, and eventually I'll get more and more of the code in there. And I know a lot of people start with the front end, so you can really see, ooh, cool, look where this is going, blah 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 blah. It's like I'm not there yet, guys. I hope I could find somebody who's willing to help me out with Unity. Honestly, I feel like Unity is going to be my big slowdown. Things are going to get really interesting when I start that, and I expect to start playing with Unity at some point in the next couple of months. Really, the only thing I need, my goal is to keep working on inching forward to get everything going till I can run my play simulation using the coach component, and running it in the React world. And then I'm going to open up, I'll start working on the Unity side. Now, the simulation at that point will only be the game plan, coach component, and basic simulations. I have not got players in. That's going to be a thing that I start working in as I go too. Ultimately, I want to get like basic sim going, basic things happening. It's going to be interesting. I don't even think I could put players on the field, but they won't know what to do because I won't be running the player execution part of it. I'll get results, so really I won't be able to tie it together. So it'll be hard to start getting. I can put players on the field, but they'll just be sitting there. They won't have any impetus to move forward. I won't have logic for that yet. But in time, I will. I'll start pulling that logic back and maybe I'll be doing some side by side. Like one day I'll work on Unity, and one day I'll work on the back end engine to get the players in place. And eventually I can start calling stuff forward. I mean, ideally I would go all the way through the simulation and start executing, getting certain players in phase. If I can get one player to run up and down the field based on the commands coming back from the simulation, like maybe get the quarterback to just do his thing and throw the ball and make things look like they're happening with just the quarterback running on the field, and he just throws the ball, right? Just out to the middle of nowhere. But it's running based on the commands of the simulator, which would be great. I mean, that would show me that I've got the player. Now I just need to put people out there to respond to the ball. You know, basically everything he throws would be an incompletion, or there's no player to throw to, because it can't do some of its logic. But to some extent, everything depends on other things on the field. So there's a lot of interaction that has to go on. So putting one player to do your things like that, and once he gets to a point, he can't do anything else because he can't pick a player. So basically, he'd be throwing it out of bounds all the time. If logic says he can't find someone to throw to, he just throws it out of bounds because there's nowhere else to throw it. Or he just runs back and just stands there because there's no actions. There's nothing pressuring him to throw. There's nothing pressuring him to run. There's nothing pressuring him to throw the ball away. The clock's just going to run out. He's just standing there in the field going, I need someone to throw to. I have to get a receiver in there, and then, oh yeah, I can throw some. And it'll always be that guy because he's the only guy on the field. We'll just throw passes to each other. And then maybe I start putting in a defender and then let the defender chase him down. Then he never throws a pass because there's no offensive lineman. So then you put an offensive lineman in there ahead of him. You just slowly start adding players that start interacting with things, and you just kind of work those things out, and slowly but surely you can start having players all interact on the field. So that's how I visualize me completing this, as I try to get one thing done at a time. If I could get basic simulation going where I can give commands to players, so many games have done it, and they've done a nice job. A lot of games have done it. Big Win Football did a good job. Super Tiny Football does a great job of the way that the players work on the field. Now, they're very generic plays, and they don't, there's not a whole lot going on there. But, and I have my own ideas but I got to get some players out there. I got to render. There's going to be so much I got to do. And that's going to take months and months and months. I predict 6 months minimum just before I even have something kind of sort of floating in there. So if I get into it in 2 months, I'm 6 months out, 8 months. So we're closing in on my 1 year. Yeah, I don't know. I've been doing it for 3 months. We'll see where I get. And I'll probably be living out on the streets by then if I don't find a way to make some money before then. So hey, if you want to back me, I appreciate it. I do have a Patreon. Please go on there, and if you've got the ability and it's not going to strap you too much, and you want to help me get this game out, check out my Patreon. That would be fantabulous. But hey, I've only got 10 people on the stream, so I don't expect too many people to even know I'm doing this. But hey, let's keep moving forward. All right, let's load this thing up. So right now, I got to get the play editor finished. Let's see here. Dang it, why do I keep pushing that button? I'm looking for the plus button. All right, nope, plus down button. Just get bash. And then we're going to go run dot. And I assume everything's going to work because it worked last time I was here. And I can't actually work with my code here. I have to work in VS Studio because I can't debug. I don't know what's wrong. VS Code won't debug. I can start the debugger, but it always says you've already got a session running. I'm like, what? The very first time I did it, it worked. But when I shut down things after that, never again. I can't get it started for nothing. You've got a session running. So there's something that is still out there, and nobody. I've asked the AIs. I've asked Google. I've looked on YouTube. If there's an answer, somebody tell me what it is. I don't know. But until then, I can't debug my React application. Not in VS Code. I can do it here, so that's what I'm going to do. Go. Oops. I'm getting all my commands mixed up. npm run dev. So the item that I'm working on right now is, let's see if I've got the right page up. Do I? Okay, so I should. This should come up on my screen shortly. There we go. We will log in. And go here and here and here. Okay, so the reason I have double here is because I basically just stuck a component in here to hold be a placeholder, and I just copied this component. So this whole play editor bottom half here is just a placeholder for the playbook, which I haven't started on. I'm not too worried about the playbook right now. That's a down the line feature. Okay, so this is going to put this in. I'm probably going to shrink this up. All this is doing is it's allowing me to build this, and then I could say scout, and then I can have him go. Let's see, we'll have him do a quick 5 yards, and let's see, I'll call it a bump. I have bump on here somewhere. Oh yeah, I was going to add filtering to this. I haven't done that yet. And then we'll go there. Let's have him run over here. And then we'll say scout. Scout is just basically look for a pass, find a way to get open for the quarterback. And then I can do something like click on the QB and we'll say pass. It's not much to do for him. He's just got to sit there and look for someone to pass to, which should be on here somewhere. And then a running back, we'll have him move from, I bet you this is that weird green one. Nope, it's pink. I really got to work on some colors that stand out better. And we'll say scout, and we'll click on him, and he'll go. Let's see, what do I want to do with him? Go here. Yeah, let's just let him dart, shall we? We'll just say go. Which is probably better if I actually put a second line on there. Oh, you know what? Let's go, let's reset that one. Let's go, I know, I have another ability in here. We're going to go here. We'll do a hitch. And then we will go here and go. And then I have a tight end here. What do we want to have him do? Let's just have him do a button, shall we? We'll click on here and go here, here. Oops. Wait, what? I'm not able to click. Oh, it's still. Okay, so my grid isn't that big. So I'm in that grid, so I'm gonna have to be a little bit more explicit here. So we'll try that again. We'll go here, click here, and then I'm gonna have to click like down here to get that spot. And then we'll just call it a button. Okay, so that's what I want. But as you can see, what am I missing? Hey, Sabinicus, how you doing, man? Oh, no. I'm saying, don't talk to me. Just ignore me, man. My chat was still up from the other day. As I might start talking to people who aren't here. La, la, la. How'd I know you were here? He's like, what? I'm lurking. How did he know I was lurking? I don't know, man. Don't know. Okay, back to what I was doing. I'm missing a key component right now. What that is I can't save this. So that's a great looking play and all, but it's only it's not going to do much in its current state. Now, I do note that most plays in their current design, if you look at another play, they rarely go more than 20 yards. 20 yards is a play design this is kind of a long, deep play, right? Because anything more than 20 yards is kind of like, it's a go, it's a I'm out of here kind of thing. So that's enough. In fact, most of my base logic is about 20 yards, and then you have big play areas. So these are not, I thought about breaking these down to even smaller grid points and calling them like 2.5 yards, 2.5 yards, 2.5 yards. But then the grid points get really fine and it gets really awkward. So, you know, it's kind of a thing. I haven't decided how for sure I want to do that. I could decrease the grids, adjust things accordingly. But right now, what I've got here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think this is a 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's 13. 13 times 5 is too big. So, I don't know. What are they? How many times does 13 go into 50? So that's about how wide a field is. 13 divided goes into 50, what, 4 times? Because that would be 20, 30, 39. It's a little over, right? That's 52. So they're a little under 4 yards in width. That's roughly 4 yards. I have the grid points at 2.5 yards going this way, because these are 5-yard grid points. So it's got 5, 2.5s. If I really wanted to divide this up better, I'd probably get it down to where it's 2.5 yards, which, Alexa, how much is 50 divided by 2.5?
50 divided by 2.5
25? Oh, it's 20? It's 20? Oh, it is 20. Eek, 20 would be too much. I could not get this down to 20. Because if you really think about it, a person really only fills about 2.5 yards of space. I mean, that's about it. And then that's probably pushing it. I mean, you think about it, you're standing up and you're kind of getting ready to go. Okay, so your feet are maybe a yard apart. Your body's about a yard wide. That's probably generous. You're probably not 30. You might be upwards of 36 inches here. I mean, I guess you could be 40 inches. But so yeah, you're over maybe a yard wide. You're a yard and a half in length. You're leaning forward. You got a little extra space. So you're really only taking up 2.5 yards. But if I put 20 squares, 20 grid on my space, my guys aren't gonna fit. It's gonna be too crowded. So, yeah, I think 2.5 kind of works. It's probably a bit much. You're probably not going to put 2 guys, inside up much closer. Because if you have somebody who stands behind or off, but they're like a yard back, 2.5. 2.5 yards back is actually a lot. I think when you have them offset from the line, it's like a yard. It's not 2.5 yards. But what is 5 divided by 3? That is what, 1.6, something like that. 6.6. Because it's 1.66, something like that. It's not much. But again, making my grid points like that would make for a very awkward grid. I don't know. I'd have to change my grid dimensions. And that's why I built it the way I did, by the way. I built it so I could change my grid dimensions so that I can play it according to what looks best and feels best on the screen, because everything will move based on the grid spaces. And I wanted to build it so I can build a grid. So if I change my grid dimensions, nothing changes. It just lays out according to whatever your grid dimensions are. So I could play with how the dimensions are and see what it looks like just for fun if I wanted to. It is a curiosity, though. What would that be? So if I wanted to try to put oh, it would look so cramped. My guys would just get so crazy squished. I'd have to spread everybody out, putting them further away from each other because they wouldn't be. Because theoretically, 2.5, that would put them arm to arm. I mean, now on the offensive line, that's probably what they are. They're probably off. They're probably arm to arm because that's how you're supposed to be. Those guys are. You're sitting next to each other. You're taking up. Now, a football player might take up more than a yard, right? They might take up 2 yards. I doubt they're that big, but let's try something. I'm curious what it looks like. Since I'm capable, I think the only thing I have to do is change the dimensions in my play editor here. And that is to go, let's say I want my grid to be 20. And instead of 24, which is basically what I got all the way to the end here, we'll say this is, let's shrink it down a little bit. I would probably want to change the grid positions of some of these guys simply because I want to spread them out more, but we'll see what happens. I'm just curious. First of all, let's see what 20 does to squish everybody, because it's going to mean these guys are really, really off. But yeah, see how they get all squishy? Now, I'd have to tell it what the center of 20 is, which is probably about 10. That's actually not the worst. I mean, it still kind of fits. I'd have to change grid positions just to give everybody a little bit of space. But that's not bad. So if I was to do that, then this is a 10. Well, should be, right? Center space. 20's tough. It's almost like you want an oddball one. If I was to go 21, I can say 11. Let's see, that's more than 50 yards. Let's go. If I go 19, I would say 10. We'll say 19, and then we'll put the center point at 10. Right? 9 and 9 is 18. Yeah, okay. No. 9 and 9, yeah, 10. Okay, so that puts the center point in at 10. We've got probably a tiny bit more space between everybody. But guys would have to move out a heck of a lot more. Now, I would have to change the grid settings for anybody who's like, it's actually not too bad. I could shrink the width of my field a little, but ultimately, this is 20 on the field. This is more dimensionally accurate to a person's body size, so probably more fair in how it's laying out the player positions. Offensive line is usually pretty tight. Receivers and such might give a little bit more space. I would think that maybe instead of going, I could try to do 3 per 5 yards instead of 2, which would be kind of weird, but it would allow me for more accurate things. So I got 1, 2, so 1, let's see, what is that? That'd be 6, 12, 18, 24, 36. So my length being 36. And center point would be 12. It's not really center point. It's where the center sits. It's kind of a lie. Oops, did I invert that wrong? Okay, so everybody gets a little bit more squishy when I do that, though. But that's the wrong side. So it's 36 minus 12 is 24. Okay, it's a little better. It's still off. 20. Five. There we go. Okay, so that tightens everybody up quite a bit. It's actually not too bad. It's really just about getting a fairly accurate rendition of where players are actually going to be sitting on the field while trying not to squish my field too much. So, but this is proportionally where people would be, right? So if you've got a running back usually gives a couple of yards between him. At least, he's probably at least a couple yards behind the QB. So, yeah, I would have to change my grid positions. It's not that, right now, it's not that the layout's bad. It's more that, accuracy speaking, I need to give more space to my running backs. Like, they would have to have altered starting positions, which isn't necessarily the problem, but I think I like it. I'm gonna update these. I'll update the grid positions, which, you know, kind of a pain, but it's more accurate. So it's just about 50 yards width, and then these are probably more accurately displayed as 20s. So when I put somebody out here, like the outside receivers are usually not both on the line. I could put one back one position and he'd sit just off like you're supposed to sit, like kind of like this guy sitting. Now normally it's the two receivers are both on the line. This is kind of an awkward, I don't even know if this is a legal setup. I don't know, because I think if you have a tight end on the line like this and a receiver back, I think that makes a tight end ineligible. I think you can't pin a receiver like this. So if he's an actually eligible person, this guy has to be off here. I don't know. Well, maybe not, because I know you can sometimes put two tight ends on one side. Yeah, I don't know how it works. Legally, there's some stuff there. I can do whatever I want. It's my game. I know. I'm going to be sticking to NFL rules as best I can. All that stuff is minor. Let's move on. Let's figure out how to get a save in here. Okay, so one thing I got to do, we're going to have to add a smaller button here because this button is too fat. You know, is it possible to add a... Is it possible? I don't even know if it's possible. At workspace. Is it possible to add a thin border to the lines displayed for the routes so they contrast better against the background? This is GPT, because you can't use. That's one thing I've been kind of going back and forth, because I can't use Claude 3.7 on Visual Studio yet. All right, let's see what this guy says here. What? Formation layout. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's formation layout? Yes. But wait, where's formation layout? Do I not even have formation layout on my screen? Guess not. let's see, we got width and height, and then they put no repeat center. Why does this look weird? Why do they have field grass texture too, no repeat center? That's not even on my... What are we looking at here? Selected formation. I'm not sure what it's looking at here, but that's not... This is formation layout, but that's not... I don't know what this... Did it totally rewrite my screen? It looks like it totally rewrote my screen. In fact, it got rid of my table. Whoa, what is it doing, man? I don't want a major rework. Possible. You totally eliminated my table grid. Just want to add the... Well, actually, you know what? I might be able to figure this out. Let's see. Add a thin border. So they're doing a border, solid black. Where is my border going in? Where is it going in? Is it here? Trying to figure out where the border is built. Okay. Shadow line. I lose track of where I put all this stuff. Rounded. Formation selector. All right, where's my route? Where is that route information? Is it formations? Cause it ain't in there. This is it's in formation layout, but where is my route information? Because it's not where it shows it. Hello, routes. Where is it? There it is. Handle position, click. Failed to fetch route action. Select a position, fetch route action. Handle play type change. Handle route click. Oh, is this where's my color definitions? Right, we're gonna go here and handle reset routes. New route, select position. Route action. the field grass. This is where it's going. So it's wherever we're trying to put out the route piece. So you can put a border on the line, huh? Class name. That's those lines. Array, absolute full path, white, opacity 50. Nope, that's the white lines. It must be information layout, but I don't see where it's at. It's just drawing. See, here's the lines, route colors. But somewhere. Convert grid coordinates to pixels. Yeah. Create the grid array. Place players in grid. Handle position click. Handle table click. Parent, get row. Generate route path. This is where I want. Constant get original position. Player position. Routes for each blah 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 blah. Push to grid. Returns reduce. Path points. Get color. Get route color. And return route colors. Based on the position. So just building a line. So I don't know if this is actually doable based on the way my stuff is set up. So we got route color. So this is the path that's getting generated. So we got the key, player position, generate route path. That's the path, the stroke. This is the only thing that needs to change. Is there a way? I don't know what path is obviously a custom component, so I don't know how well that's going to work. Tail grid. I just want to add the line border to the path. Tag. Set up on this. Let's see what it does. Formation layout, blah, blah, blah. All right, what do we got here? So path tag is, what it do? It's going to be right here. So we have, the only thing we got here is a style. Let's see here. Let's add that, see what it does. Oops, totally got the wrong part here. Control C. We're gonna go here and let's pop that in there. See what that does. That's black though. It did do it. It put a border on it. And it kind of sort of pops. Let's try white. Let's see what white does. Black. Let's just say white. I could even think about doing a lighter color or yellow even. Let's try yellow. Because I'm curious. Woo, that's weird. Let's go with white. It does create more contrast. I'm not sure if I like it or not. It's only 2 pixels wide, which is good. I don't want a lot of pixeling. Kind of looks weird though, huh? But what's a good color that would stand out? Black barely works. Yeah, let's try. Let's raise it to 3 pixels, and we'll try black again. Now let's see what white does at 3 pixels. Not much of a difference. Oops. Yeah, that green one still doesn't stand out much. I'm trying to get a contrast that works for the green one. And it's shadow. Stroke opacity. Maybe that's the thing. Let's change this to. See what happens if I turn this to like 1. Yeah, that didn't do anything. Try 5. Oh, that's my line that disappears. I don't want my line to disappear. Let's make that more solid. Let's go all the way up to 9. Makes them pop a little bit more that way. So really it's just say it fully solid. That makes them stand out a bit, but I still need to figure out how to make my shadow here. I don't even know what these other numbers do. What do these other numbers do? I don't know what those other ones. I don't know what drop shadow's dimensions are. Let's go 5. I just want to see what something big does. Yeah, it's a shadow, so it's just spreading out. It's not really solid. It's almost too opaque. Let's try a number. Let's put a number in here. Let's say 1. That doesn't do anything. That doesn't do anything either. What if I said 50? I'm just curious. Throw some big numbers in there. Nope, nothing's doing anything. I don't know what those do in drop shadow. They have no effect. What if I do something like 0.1? I'm not seeing it. It's not doing nothing. Say 50 pixels. It did change it, but I don't think it changed it for the better. I am not sure how this is helping me. And white, Well, let's see. How can I make the border a bit more bold? Looks more like a haze right there. The stroke width. I tried the stroke width. That didn't do anything though. I mean, I said the dash array. What is a stroke dash array? Does some weird stuff. I don't know what a dash array is either. Let's do this. I like this better. It's a better format for looking at this. Easier to read this way. So, all right, we'll try stroke width. Oh wow, that's actually really good. That pops way better. Nice and solid, actually. I like that. Just stands out better against it. Now I don't know that green will ever stand out against it, but I do have a green one. But I think the solid lines are way better. Let's look at white again just to see. Oh, that's too much. What if I reduce it down to like a 2 again? Kind of fuzzes them out, but it does provide good contrast. I wish it was sharper. I don't know. I mean, it's a shadow, so it's not supposed to be really bold, but what if I do a 1? Oh, that's actually not too bad. It does sharpen up the contrast a little bit more. It would be interesting to see how that looks with a green color. Let's actually don't have another guy on the field though. I think the next one is green. This one's the purple one, right? Am I just colorblind? No, the green one is green. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not too colorblind. I'm just a little bit colorblind. I can see colors, just I don't see them sharply. Okay? Don't be mean. Well, purple was supposed to be the 4th one. So I got yellow, blue, green is that guy? Purple and orange. Oh, I got all 5 of them in. That's purple. I thought my green one was greener than that. I thought I like green. Huh. That's not a very... I mean, there's the green and yellow. I mean, there's greenish yellow and green. Greenish yellow and green. Okay, so I was giving my daughter a hard time the other day. Okay, so we're talking about Gatorade. And they call it yellow Gatorade. It is not yellow Gatorade, by the way. There is no yellow Gatorade. There's green Gatorade. It's very yellow. It looks kind of like Mountain Dew. It's kind of like pea colored. But no, I guess pea is yellow. It can be green. I guess Mountain Dew is just said to be pea colored, but it's really green colored. Pea is like if you juiced them, juiced the vegetable pea. But it's green. And she says, no, you're colorblind. You don't know. I'm like, it's not. You can compare it. Pour a cup of lemon lime Gatorade, and then compare it to something that's truly yellow, like a lemon. It is not. It is green. And what you're going to find, now here's the rule. Here's the rule for all of you color people. And this is why colorblind people can get away with crap. If it is not pure yellow, blue, or red, it's not yellow, blue, or red. Simple. If you have a doubt and you're colorblind, lean towards the color you think it is. And you'll be right. If you say if something looks like it has a little red in it and you're thinking it's purple and everybody says it's blue, if it's got any red in it, it's purple. Any. It could have 2 points of red in it and it's purple. Now, okay, the only exception is green, white and black, or gray, same thing. It's just a mix of white and black. But that color just changes the depth of the color. So you can have pure yellow even with you add white, or you add, well, adding black might turn it brown. But the rule is you're darkening it. So if you put like a black behind it or a white behind it, or you do something like that, you're basically darkening the color. It has to be just a tiny tidbit of black. It'd have to be so small amount, very faded, very opaque black, and you can darken your yellow. Get too much black in there and you might shift it towards brown, which, by the way, doesn't make up its own color, right? So white, there's no combo, no easy color for brown. I think it's actually technically all three colors, yellow, blue, and red, all make brown, because you're actually adding green and purple, and it just turns brown. Brown is the mix of everything with no sense. That's really what it is. It's kind of like the garbage dump of colors. It's just throw everything in there and you get brown. Throw a bunch of colors in, you end up with some form of brown. So, and yeah, if you have more than one, or more of one color or the other color, you just get various shades of brown. But once you're brown, you're brown. So yeah, the more colors you add, the further you get from any pure color, which there's really only the three, which is yellow, red, and blue. And on a printer, it might be what? Cyan, yellow, and violet or something like that. Or magenta, huh? It's cyan, yellow, and magenta. Cyan is just a form of blue, and magenta is a form of red, which is more of a purple, or no, I'm sorry, more of a pinkish purple. I don't know. Apparently printers can make colors out of that. It's weird that you can make any color in the rainbow with black, cyan, yellow, and magenta. If you can get the math right, your drop combos right, that's all it takes. 4 colors. I don't know that I could ever get that combo. It's probably like 50-1 on some things with some color dots. You'd have to get some kind of a, I mean, they base it on a 255 dot RGB scale, right? So some combination of the 4 colors, because white's not a color. So you have, and even then the RGB scale doesn't have black in it. So you're really just using cyan, magenta, and yellow. And it's like, if you put the right amount of 255 dots, you can make every color. It could be 1 dot of cyan and 162 of yellow and 253 of magenta, and you'll end up with the color brown. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's crazy. I don't know how it does it. I don't know who came up with that scale. How did it? You basically say, here, we're going to give you a bunch of this color, and you say, hey, computer, match it to this, and it just starts throwing dots in until it figures out which one matches, and okay, this is what it is. It's impressive. Humans would probably have a really hard time trying to make colors out of, I mean, a really good artist could probably come close, but it still would be hard. Plus, I don't think humans can see all colors, but they don't have names for them all. There's so many colors. What is it? Millions of colors? Combos out of that? All right. I've digressed. I've digressed enough into the color discussion. Okay, so I've made my lines a little bolder. They look a little bit better. Let's figure out how to add save. Now I do have a playbook data.js, which fetch play selection, fetch route action, fetch formation. I do not have a save action for play. So what I'm going to need to do is figure out how to create my save play action in the playbook, which is not me, by the way. I'm going to be having AI do this. And you say, oh, you're being lame. I know, but AI is faster than me, and I can figure it out. I know I can. I mean, you know, whatever. Actually, maybe I can't. I mean, I have to be honest. I don't know Go very well yet. I'm learning it. I'm getting better. Starting to learn how things are done. You know, how we got get, create, and I haven't done a ton of saving back to the database. The only thing I save right now is my plan, so I'd have to kind of mimic it off the game plan. And I could probably do that. I would probably use the game plan and kind of mimic and toy with it. But the game plan is part of the coaching component. No, it can't be part of the coach component because that's not where I have that. So we have the playbook. Nope, wrong. Sorry. Got the store formation and store routes. I don't actually have a separate store one for the game plan. Where's game plan just being done here? Great playbook. Where is the game plan being saved at? Oh, game plan is its own component. Oh, never mind. Game plan. There it is. Servers.go. It's the game plan. Okay, so here is, no, it's a store.go. Store.go probably creates a new store, get game plan by user ID, game plan by situation, create game plan. So I guess it's create game plan. You know what? I am going to try something a little bit more advanced here. Let's open up the football simulator. Then, you know, all you people out there looking for a developer who knows Go, don't come to me. I'm doing this a lot with AI's help. I mean, I'm using my 25 plus years of development experience to tweak, fix, and redirect the AI. Because I've been doing a lot of that. Trust me, you can't build a good app with AI by itself. It's kind of clunky, but it will give you basic code to start working with. That if you know what you're looking at, you can ask it the questions you need and fix it. You can have it help you fix everything after you've kind of looked through it and pin down. And don't just take what it says. All right. I need now to create the create a save button that works with my PFFM PFFM web /source/app/coach /play editor .jsx and creates a save and fetch method. Create save and fetch methods for the plays created. Those methods would submit and retrieve the play from the game, the PFFM go ms/game plan. No, not game plan. /playbook service. Preferably using a play creator store.go. Alrighty. Let's see how Claude 3.7 does. It's gonna if it can see everything I'm doing, it should basically give me like 4 methods and 2 files. We'll see how this might be over. This might be over asking. This might be too big of a chunk for it to figure out. Maybe not. We'll see. Along with the necessary methods to save and fetch plays from your playbook service. Here's what we need to implement. Add a save button. Well, yeah, we need to do that. Create data service methods in a new file for interacting with the playbook service. Yep. Update the playbook service to handle the new endpoints. Right. We have to do that in the main files and the service files. Which means we also have to put them into the API so that they can be called from the gateway, because you gotta go through the gateway to get there. So what I'll probably have is my playbook will have some extra calls that reference these new services so that I can pass it in that way. So first we have playbook data.js. Let's go over to PFFM go ms. That's 9:20. Got 40 minutes. Let's see what we can pull off here. And may not get it all tested and working. Ultimately, what I will need to do is I may even have to spend a few days this week to start implementing tests. I need to start putting tests in. I haven't been. I've been kind of winging it. And I'm building myself kind of a hole. I probably should stop doing that. That's probably not the best way to go. All right, so we got PFFM Go. We're in MS. We got to go to source app data, playbook data, or play data. Sorry. Oh wait. Oh, it's putting it in the play data.js. Now we'll go back to play. I think I'm going to put it in the playbook. Formations. Fetch play selection. Make the get request using Axios. Headers, prefer play type, play ID, coach. Oh, that's the play selections. That's the plays that are set up. Oh, maybe I do need to do this in a different way. Because this is all about getting formations, types, selections. This is a lot of lists, but this is for the playbook. You know, I may have to create a fetch game plan. And those are game plans. I don't necessarily want it in the game plan stuff. Coach data, I don't even have that doing anything. That's an empty file. Huh. I mean, I've been loading formations, but the plays themselves are going to be their own file. You know, I think I am going to do a different file for that. Good job, Claude. You're right. I wasn't going to. I wanted to use I was thinking use the playbook one, but for the creator, I think I'm gonna, yeah. Yeah. Because I'm creating a new play. We're saving this play. Let's do it. So we're going to create a new file. We'll just call it, what is it called? Play data? Sure, play data.js. All right. Now let's see what it says. Well, we got the fetch play. It's pretty smart. It's using the same logic that I've got. It's putting in my get token. I already have this. This is standard stuff that I've been putting in my other files, so it is putting that in pretty good. I'm not too worried about it messing stuff up because it doesn't have anything to mess up. Fetch a play by ID. Fetch all the plays for the current user. That's for the playbook. and that would probably have to go on the playbook data. The only time I'd ever fetch all the plays is for the playbook. Honestly, I got to figure out how to load play. So that's true. I could fetch a play, but by the ID. But then I got to know what the ID is. I think the way I'd be editing plays is by putting them in the playbook and then click on it to edit it. So I will have it take me there with the ID. So I'm actually going to take this file. That's actually going to go in the playbook because that makes more sense here. And we'll put fetch plays. Now this is fetch all plays by current user. This fetch play selection is fetching all plays by another thing, and I'll use that that's like for the game plan, because we're gonna have to be able to fetch plays based on basic rules. But this one will work for this purpose. Okay, and plays aren't really gonna be connected by user either, so I'm gonna have to adjust that. Well, no, not true. For the playbook, they'll be by the playbook ID, and then the player. Yeah, the plays aren't going to be by user. They're going to be by playbook, and playbook is going to be defined by the user. So it's kind of a top-down. It's going to have to be different. But I'm not worried about that, because really what I want is this one. I want this save play here, and that one's the one that's going to go in play data. And then we have to go up here, and we got to fetch the play by play ID, which is what we'll do when we load up later, when I figure out how to call that thing in there. So we'll do that. And then we're going to go down here. So we have fetch play and save play is all we need right now. Okay. That's not going to have any effect really on the output there. All it does is reload the page because it doesn't know what to do with what I'm doing. Alright, so that gets all of the plays in for the play data logic. Right now I'm just putting it in, because I'm guessing it's probably not going to work on the first try, because it does weird things and you typically have to go tweak it. That's just the way it goes. And like here, see, it's by active user. It's not right, because I said I'm not loading them up by active user. In fact, a play is not connected to a user, it's connected by a play ID. So get the current playbook first. Oh. So they are saving it to the playbook. No. I think, plays themselves should not even be bound to playbooks. Plays are just plays. They exist to exist. And then they can be bound to a playbook, but they're not. Their primary existence is play ID only. You know what? I may have to tweak it. I got to tweak it. I needed to understand that plays are autonomous of playbooks. Yes, I will need... Yeah, see, this is why you gotta make sure you're reading what it's saying. And right now, it's trying to get it by user. Okay, plays are game system specific. It's game system wide or game wide. They are not bound to playbooks or users. From they're not by default bound to a playbook or a user. Users can later add to a playbook. Users will, in time, be given plays. Thus, they will have a link. They will have access to the play. They will be given plays. Thus, gaining a mapping to the play showing their ownership. However, at the point of creation / editing, they are only system. They are only system. Thus, should only be fetched by play ID. And saved. Okay, there we go. This will allow for a better use of the plays. We're going to try to create them in a way that makes them more wide. So if I create 100 plays, everybody can get the 100 plays. You're probably not going to want 100 plays in your playbook. I mean, I suppose you could, but it's going to get really cluttery. And I suppose if you're just going to let your AI handle it, you can. Maybe some coaches would be limited, huh? Like new coaches, maybe not as many plays. More advanced coaches might be able to do more plays. You know, your playbooks can be limited. Better coaches, because it's more complex to handle an advanced playbook, and also if you have a lot more plays in your playbook, some players might struggle with it, right? I mean, you have to have a pretty good intelligence for a player to be able to, well, you know, I'm not gonna be one of those that says, oh, he's good at memory, he's got various forms of memory. I'm telling you that front office football probably goes into, he's got game time intelligence, he's got reaction intelligence, he's got memorization intelligence, he's got blah 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 blah. Look, is he able to do it or not? I'm not going to get that deep into it. I want you to have a lot of stats you can work with, but not so many that you just feel like you're overwhelmed. Like I said, I want it to be something that a kid could get into if he wants to. I'm thinking 10 to 13-year-old kid who's getting into football. He loves football, but he doesn't want to fiddle with all of the, I mean, unless you've got yourself a Doogie Howser football player. You don't even know who Doogie Howser is. Old TV show with the 18-year-old doctor. Yeah, he was, that was the whole thing. He was super smart. He was a genius. Anyway, if you're that kind of a football player, or you're just, your brain is, or your kid is, brain can handle thousands of stats and he's smarter than everybody on his block, okay, fine, but I'm not targeting the 0.0001% of all football fans that are under the age of 15. I'd like, in general, a football fan who's 13 years old to want to see his game, interact with his game, control his team, build his team, and not feel like it's just too much. And kids, they want visuals. So I want good visuals. I want players on the field. I want flashiness. I want Marvel Snap and Legends of Runeterra type. I'm setting the bar super high for myself. I don't know. Maybe I'll start it off with something more simple, but ultimately I want it to look pretty good with the cards and how they level up and how you can do stuff with them. And I want the field to actually show a game and show stuff going on. You got players and you got things you can do on the field. That's the UI elements. And then the back end, you can be able to do things like tweak your, maybe do some cool little updates for your stadium and updates for different things, and it'll help you improve. But there'll be visual effects. It's not just going to have, you can only do certain things in the off season. Like maybe you can't really upgrade your stadium in the regular season. You could build a stadium during the off season, and it'll build during the off season. You can build training facilities anytime, I suppose. They just won't be able to use them. Practice fields. You can do all this stuff anytime, I guess. You just be practicing in other places. But ultimately, that's what I want. I want to be able to have things that you do things that take time. I mean, the game's gonna be like real football, but it'd be kind of cool. Like if it takes time to build something, like as you progress through the off season, that's how long it takes you to complete your stadium. So like if you skip the off season and you started a stadium, you skip everything else, by the time season starts, your stadium's built. It might be a little aggressive, but we'll do one off season. I guess you could technically build a stadium anytime, but it wouldn't be available until the following year if you do it during the current season. It takes 1 year to build a stadium. I'm sorry, it takes a long time. I don't care how much bajillions of dollars you spend. I don't think I've ever seen a stadium ready in a month or a week. Or even 3 months. It's probably a lot to ask for it to be done in an off season. I don't know. I think usually it's at least a year, but I should probably say it's a year. So whenever you start it, next season you'll have a new stadium. But probably it costs a lot, and that's money. Okay, let's figure out what he fixed. So this is the new save play. He's given me some extra things I'm not even asking for, so I do like that. Fetch alt plays, fetch play, save play. I want the save play here. I'll stick that in here instead. Much simpler looking. Format the play data, blah, blah, blah. Path API plays. So we got the formation ID. And what else did it pass in here? Play data. Play data.selection. I guess it's just checking that I have all this stuff. And then we're going to go, we'll see how it does. API plays. If updating an existing play, I like that it does it. Saves it. And then save the play. Wait. All right. Now we got fetch play, which will basically probably be the same thing as it was, but we'll just grab it. Make sure that he... actually, it does look different. Oh, because it's using the user. But we're not using the user. We're not attached to the user. We're not that attached, man. He's okay, but they're just not attached to him. So we got... that's the... wait, fetch play. Oh, and this one is what? Fetch all plays. Fetch all plays. When will I look at fetch all plays? I don't know. There's got to be. I mean, I guess when I want to edit a play, but ultimately, add play to playbook. Huh? He actually gave me this one. I didn't actually ask for that, but okay. That's gonna actually go in the playbook thing, though. That one's probably going to be the fetch all plays because that's where you're going to select them, right? But that's fetch all plays by user. So I will need to fetch them all by user because you'll never get a fetch all plays as the user. You're going to get a fetch all your plays. So that'd be fetch all plays by user, which is what that is. And then in the play creator, I might want to fetch all plays. I'm not sure. That might be the only way for me to actually edit them outside of a playbook. So that might actually be good. So we'll go back to the play data here. Because I don't know how I'm going to get them otherwise. Thing is, I have no way to see these plays. I got to figure out a way to give myself an image. Maybe I'll have to do something like I'm doing with the formation selector. Create a fetch all plays that just shows all the plays as they format on the... I haven't even gotten around to figuring out how I'm going to load up all the plays because you got to be able to select them, and I don't want to try to select them all by ID. That's dumb. That's like, no, not doing that, man. I don't know. I'm not going to try to memorize all of them. What I wanted to do, my idea was to create a cool list box. And I still think it might be possible. I just don't know if you can. Or kind of like if I click on a drop-down button, it would pop up kind of a list box that I can scroll through that would say the name of the play and then a little picture of the play. Or I guess what I'm doing with the pop-up grid kind of works with the formations. This one. Will things work right now? I don't even know if things are going to work right now. Okay, so yeah, play editor. So when I click here, you see these plays. So this works, and as long as this is scrollable, I don't have enough plays to see. But if I have like 10 plays on here and it's scrollable, then that's not so bad. I can click and just add plays. I guess that works. If it's 100, I may have to come up with a way to show the plays. Maybe figure out how to do 5 or 6 plays on here across. 5 would be 20 rows. I don't want to get too big. But if the plays are smaller and they sit like that, I could probably get 8, maybe. If I could reduce it, if I get to 10, I'd only have 10 rows. But 10 is a lot. That'd be a lot of little tiny plays. I don't want to get that tiny. That's pretty tiny. But one thing at a time. Getting ahead of the game, man. Gotta get it laid out. All right, so we got fetch plays, save plays, add play to playbook, which I think, did I already add that one here? Yeah. Thought I did. It looks different, maybe slightly. Nope, it's exactly the same. All right, so this one now needs to have an add play to playbook. Yeah. Fetch plays. Fetch play selection. Add play to playbook. And then this guy has a add play to playbook. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no. Oh, wait, what? No. I'm so confused. Let's look at the right thing here. All right, so we got fetch play, fetch plays, save play. Fetch play, fetch plays. Save play. And then we'll go over here. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we've got all of those guys. All right, so now you'll need to update your backend to handle these new API endpoints. Yes, sirree, I will. So now we got to go to my new playbook.go, which I don't think I have a playbook.go, but I am going to create one. So the playbook. See, I have, yeah, I know playbook. I have formations. It's not really a playbook.go. It's going to have to be a playeditor.go or play.go. I mean, it is in my playbook. Do I want to keep my play editing and play creating separate from my playbook? Have separate engines. It does simplify things to separate them. I know it's not that the AI is not thinking good, but sometimes having simpler classes, you know, deal with the playbook here, deal with the play here. The play itself is its own thing. I think I'm going to separate them. I just like the idea of being able to deal with things. We're just going to go play.go. I'll create two items. We're going to have a playbook.go. It just feels better. I don't know why. So we'll put all of this stuff in the playbook.go, and then I'll just pull the ones out for the other one. I may have to just put them both in. Play ID, play handler, play all plays handler. All right. But where's the get plays, create play, get play by ID? See, this is, yeah, I'm separating it. Update play handler, get play ID, get play by ID handler, update play handler, and delete play handler. Do I even have a delete function? Do I want to delete my plays? I don't know if I want to delete my plays, but create play. What else do we have here? Register play routes. This is basically all play stuff, though. Get all plays. Yeah, I don't know. The playbook. None of this is playbook. Did I actually say playbook.go? Maybe that's it. I thought I said playeditor.go, but I might have said playbook. Oh. Yeah, I said play creator. It's actually called a play editor, which is interesting because it really is a play creator, but it can also be an editor. And play editor just sounds better, right? You can create it, you can edit it. I can edit it. That's just it. I'm really not. I don't expect. This is kind of a hidden function. Sorry, it's not going to be out there in the world, but you have to be able to get to it. And the playbook's not going to have a play editor visible to most people. It's going to be a permission-based access. Sorry. Yeah, I know, I'm being a jerk. But, you know, the plays are going to have they're going to have to be vetted, significantly vetted, to make sure that they're functional. Guys move in different places. Certain things don't, I don't want I don't want guys in weird places on the field. The formations Okay, granted, the formations are fixed. That's not even an editable thing by unless you do it in the back end. But you know, routes that are just over the top. I don't want it to break things because your routes are doing goofy things. I guess I could limit the number of things you put into a field. Like you can only put, 5 actions. You can only. I don't want. I don't know. I feel like I'd have to put too many checks and balances on there. Like I know what I can do, what's going to work, what's not going to work, and I don't want people breaking things. What I might do, like I said, at some point in the future, offer it as a perk. You can create a play and submit it, maybe as a special reward. Create your own play, blah blah blah, and submit it, and then it'll have to be vetted and approved. And then once it is, it gets added to the system, and you get it with your own special. Created by, kind of a thing. I don't know. I'm mulling it. Plus, to be honest, Play Creator is complicated. And it may not be available. I don't want to rebuild it in Android, to be honest. I think it'd be a pain to try to build a play in Android. So it'd be like a web-only accessible tool, and that's another thing. It's a whole another thing. And to be honest, when I'm playing Marvel Snap and it keeps wanting to take me to their website, I get mad. I go, I don't want to go to your freaking website. I'm playing the game here. And then here I'm thinking, you got to go to the website to do this or that. Because it's not in the game. It's like I'm being that guy. Even when I'm playing it on the desktop version of Marvel Snap, I'm like, stop sending me to your website. I don't want to go there. I'm going to be that guy. I will be doing what I hate. But these are all plays. I don't even have a playbook functionality here. So, because this is going to get all plays, but it's not get plays by user. This one is register plays, register the routes, register play specific routes. Yeah, because, well, our routes, yeah, they have to be play specific. Well, no, they can be formation specific. How are my routes defined? How are my routes defined? I have a play type. Player position is the route and the route. Position is going to map to this. We got where they are on the field, and we have the position group. And then the play has an ID, a user ID, whether they're offense, defense, or special teams. I don't know if this is considering all this. What's it doing when it comes in here? Get play, create play, new decoder, invalid request payload, create play, internal. Handle for deleted play, handler for updating a play, handler for getting a specific play, handler for creating a new play. All right. Let's go down here. Oh wait, let's play JSX. This is the one. This is the, you know what? I don't think any of this is playbook. So it's not going to be playbook. It's going to be play. We're not even grabbing stuff for the playbook yet. None of this stuff is meant to grab plays for the playbook. But what it is missing is all the header stuff that these need. Like, I'm going to need to put this in here. And well, no, that's not. All right, some of these probably can go away. It will when I hit save. All right. All right, so Ariano, throw away, sleep and call it a day. Not yet. I've got a few more minutes, man. I'm pushing through. I'm trying to actually get my my plays to start saving now. See it? I don't know if you've seen how that's getting there, man. We're starting to be able to add routes and do cool stuff. Like if I go ahead and say hitch and go, and then I can add more stuff. And we'll say do a, let's say no, we have to come back, right? And say button. But I'm working on the part where this actually goes to the database so that it can come back from the database. I have to also add some filters to these routes because obviously these guys should not be running or pass blocking. They haven't even got the ball yet. Should not be pass blocking past about here. So that's a problem. So anyway, yeah, I'm working on those details. But yeah, we're not quite ready to call it a day though. Not yet. I'm a few more minutes away, so I'm implementing this code. But we're getting there. I'm hoping, I got goals, man. I got to get my Indiegogo started, and in order to do that, I need to edit my video tomorrow, so I'll be doing that partly in the morning. And then I got to set the launch date, which will probably be next week. I'm only going to do like a pre-launch of about a week. But I'd like to have this kind of done so that I can start focusing on the next quarter. We're still in the first quarter, but I'm kind of pushing towards getting next quarter stuff going. Because I hit a lot of my quarter goals for this first quarter already. A lot of the stuff I said I wanted to get done, I did. Now it's like, okay, I'm ready to move on and get some more things done. It's going to get more complicated when I get to Unity, so I got to push to Unity as fast as possible. I'm thinking I'm another month or two out before I can work on Unity. But it's also going to be on just how disciplined I am at staying at this. Still, it sucks because I'm still. No, not yet. How's it? It's gonna be done in Unity as an app for Android. So, you know, once I get I am tempted. I can test this soon. In fact, this week I'm gonna see what this looks like on the mobile phone. But now this is my mobile phone. I've got a what do you call it? Samsung Galaxy Fold 5. That's what my phone is. And I will be making sure that my game is defined to work on there. So it's going to be interesting. It won't work very well on here. I can guarantee you it's going to get squished and look kind of funky. But I'm hoping I can get it pretty good. But you're right. This is not mobile friendly. By the way, Ariano, the play editor is not going to be a standard feature of the game. This is just so that I could create plays and put them into the game for the playbook. So when you're the game plan. So when you're on the game plan here, you should be able to go on to the preferred plays here, and there'll be a drop down box that that you can, or a button here where you can click, and it'll give you a selection a little bit like this. So like when you click on there, you'll get a box like this, and you can pick the play that you want to associate to your preferred play type. And you'll also be able to do the same thing for preferred plays. You'll be able to associate plays to your favorite plays. This is going to be a list of types. This one will be the only one that lets you see the plays, because this is just play types. It's going to be run, pass, or run left, run right, you know, various play types. And then this one is actual plays. So you'll get a box where you can pick. It's not a flip phone, it's a fold phone. There is a difference, by the way. Flip phones are crap. I don't know anybody who does anything on a flip phone. That's terrible. No, I will do some. They do have what do you call it? Editors. Like when I do Unity, I will try. It lets you put all the different phone types in there, and then you can make sure your game will configure itself correctly on all the phone types. You could do iPhone. Once I start doing a iPhone, by the way, I will do Android first because I'm Android. But yeah. No, sadly, not yet. And they're games. If for you soccer players, the NFL calls them games, not matches. I don't know. It's so weird to me when I see people create a football game and call them football matches. For the NFL, they're called games. But no, I can't sim yet. I mean, the only sim is this, but it's not attached to anything yet. So my sim is just my prototype that I've got plugged in here, and it's not attached to anything. But I'm working on that. So the only way I can get this to attach is I got to get the plays working, so that I can attach them to the game plan, and then the game plan I attach to the coach, and then the coach I can have the sim feedback. The position, all the play information, where are we at in the field, all that stuff. It sends that information to the coach component, which will then read the game plan and call the play. So then we're kind of controlling the sim, right? We're having a little bit of effect. The game plan is affecting the simulation. However, the really cool part is when I get the sim interacting with actual player data. And I have to load up all my player data and start and connect that, and then I have to build the logic to how they're going to perform on the field. So that's the advanced part of the simulation. That's the cool part of the simulation, of course, but we're not there yet. Once we get that work, that's down the line a little. It's kind of like I'm doing a little bit of everything at once. So getting the sim working is truly an objective. Yes, I have to. But I also want to start working on the UI a little bit for the Unity. I also have all these other little bits and parts. So the goal is to get some playability, some interaction for the user to be able to do something that affects the game. So you may not have player ability right away, but I want to have like the game plan and the coaching stuff. That's the first thing. That means a person can go in and actually affect what's happening on the field. So all these randomly called plays will become now not so randomly called. They'll be called by the settings of the game plan. Unfortunately, the specific play will have very little effect until we put players in, but the play types will work on the simulation. But I also got to go through and I want to start, okay, what else can I start putting in that starts allowing the users to do their thing? I think it would be pretty cool to start getting some of the streamer features in there that allow me to, while I'm working on this, run a sim like this and allow the streamer features to work. And I think that one won't be that complicated, because some of that is just allowing commands to be set up through stream elements that call back to my web servers here and injects those commands into it. Basically, you're implementing it through the coach component. Something like sub QB, which means Ariano throwaway picks up the ball or subs himself in at QB and throws an incompletion. or whatever. It'll end up resulting in certain plays. It'll inject it. So where you see this text, it would insert your name and that you did something. If you went in at running back, it would be screen pass to Ariano throw away for a 3-yard loss. So that's what I want to have streamer commands be able to be put in by whoever's watching me and have an effect on the game that I'm letting simulate in the background. So while I'm doing my thing, I might slow down the clock. Right now it's just running really fast, so these games take like, I don't know, 10 minutes to run, 5 minutes to run. I know it's pretty fast. Well, we're already through the second quarter here, into the second quarter. So I slow it down so people who could put it in, and the game just runs slowly in the background. But until that point, so that might be one of the first player interactive capabilities that I get in there, short of being able to create these play editors, which they might have an effect on the game until somebody injects. I hope so. That's the goal. Make something. But first and foremost, I want the game to be a free-to-play that doesn't have paywalls. So in other words, if people pay, it's because they're gaining things that are cosmetic, or maybe they can do something that doesn't have a lot of effect on the game, but they can pay for. Maybe they can accelerate some of the cosmetic features. See, everything, I'm hoping to make everything available to people who play. I mean, just play. You just play, you never pay, fine, you earn stuff, but it's going to earn slower. But like some of the visual effects that can happen, that can be done to your cards, that kind of stuff you can maybe pay or accelerate your gaining of those visual effects. Doesn't necessarily, again, it's not going to give you any better performance. Your guys aren't going to play better. It's none of that nonsense. I'm not going to have pay to win crap. That's a no-go. I'm not. Too many. Everybody tries to do that, but I want to. If I make it enough, and what I want to do with the stream element is, if streamers, pay for it or whatever, they can put it on their thing, and it gives that interactive capability for your chat people to have an effect on the stream. So they would pay me to be able to run this on their stream. And they'd set up their own commands, and they'd be able to go on there and log in as themselves, set up the game or start a simulation, and when they're streaming, their chat people could go on there. Now, granted, not everybody's gonna do NFL, right? No, only if I use NFL teams and names. Yeah, I can't. You know how much it costs? You know how much EA is paying for the exclusive NFL license? For 5 years, from 2020 to 2025, with an option for 1 year. I don't know if it's 20. It might have been to 24 with an option for 1 year. $1.5 billion. And they have to make certain sales, but they seem to make it every year, so they keep renewing the contract. So nobody can use NFL teams' names, licenses for a full game simulation. Can't do it. So yeah, not going to be having that. I'm not. Even if it was available, I'm not paying that kind. I couldn't pay that kind of money. It's stupid. So I'm going to be using fake names. Well, no, they're not real names. They're anagrams. This coach, that's a real coach. Real coach name. Coaching information won't be based on any kind of real stats, really. I mean, I guess it could have some effect. What is that, winning percentages? I mean, what can you do? I'm going to have some things that are related to a coach associated to that coach in the game. So if I put Tony Absane in the game, he's going to have some feature, something about him. Let's say, for example, if Tony Absane is known for being a really good head coach that rookie quarterbacks excel under, well, maybe he'll have an ability that gives his rookie quarterbacks a little bit of a boost while they're playing. So they play a little better because they're under Tony Absane. But we're talking about small changes. I mean, people can put things in the right coaching staff. They can do the right changes and edits, and it'll tweak their players' performance in certain ways. But it's never going to be so much that, because everybody can do it, right? Everybody's going to have a coach that has an effect. Everybody's going to have this, that, or the other thing. And it's going to be like you can get cards and players through cards you earn, but you're going to earn them. You're not going to buy them. So if you play, you get more cards. If you come back often, you get more cards. You know, you're going to be able to get more players, more coaching options, but there's rules. You can't hire and fire coaches constantly. You got to pick your coach. And there's going to be things that it's going to be very NFL rules based and also logic based. I'm a logic guy. I don't like willy-nilly rules. I'm sorry, I'm not a willy-nilly guy. You can't just change your coach 3 times a season. You can't change him every game. Oh, I'm playing against a guy who's really good against passes. I'm going to change to a coach that's good for defenses, and I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to spend my money and alter everything for the week. And no. You can't do that. You can like maybe fire a coach once a year. You know, and then maybe whatever. You know, you can have different things. Player careers. You know, I've been thinking about player careers. I want to do a franchise. Obviously, there's a franchise mode plan. I'm trying to figure out how to do a player. What I'm really thinking is, and I've seen this with other video games, and I like it, where you get your own guy. Like you say, like a career player. Like maybe it's you. You can give him his name. You can give him this, that, or the other thing. But here's the thing. I don't know I haven't figured out how do you inject him into the game? All right. Do you throw him into the draft pool? And then, I mean, somebody else gets to draft him, right? I mean, if you don't have the pick that drafts him, you can't get him. Maybe he's a 1 year player. Like you get him on your team as your first player, but he's technically he's not a rookie. Because you already got him. I mean, he's on your team already, so you can't draft him. He's got to be existing. Or maybe he's a free agent you pick up after the draft. Maybe that's it. We do a draft, you get your team, and then after that, you're able to create your career player that you pick up from free agency. We'll just say you picked him up from free agency. Yeah, I'm still working it out. I'd like to have a career player that you can have on your team. But how does an artificial player function in a game with real life player stats? See, if it was all made up, if I was making a game where all the real life player data wasn't being used, I was just making everything up by the seat of my pants, which I don't want to do because I don't like that. I want it to be attached to real life performance. It'll keep the game balanced for one thing because everything will be built off of real player stats. You can't have a guy who's Superman. You're not going to have dumb things. I mean, great player's still going to be better, yes, but he's going to cost more. He's going to have a high salary, and salary's based on stats and all that stuff. So there's balancing going on, but your career player is going to have a different set. I won't be able to use real life stats to determine their potential. I have to come up with my own potential. And how do I come up with real stats? Do I just mimic him off of somebody out there? I could, I guess. But, you don't want to have the same as somebody. I could just say, oh, yeah, he's going to have the same as Barry Sanders if he's a running back. That's same potential. But how good do you make a player like that? I think what it is you make them pretty bad. But they advance well and have a high potential. So this way you can tweak him and do more with him. Normally players would, your training and your coaching and your advancements would be slow and minimal because it's working within the bounds of an actual player's ability or stats from real life. I store the real stats in a backend database. So yes, I do have real database of real players. I get them from out there in the wild world. You can also pay for more in-depth stats. It's not terribly expensive, but you can like have access to various databases out there of stats. But but the stats you see aren't going to be real life player stats. They're going to be game stats based on real life player stats. I have formulas that'll calculate what the game stats are. So, like hands. So it isn't just, there isn't a real life stat for hands. So anybody who's giving you a catching ability is showing you a formula that they derived to make up catching ability. Tackling ability, there's not a tackling ability stat in the world. There's stats of how many tackles they made, but that doesn't tell you anything. You have to consider a bunch of different data points. How many games did they play? How many plays were they in? How many plays were run against them? Or were they pass plays? Well, you gotta calculate a lot of stuff. And formulas to get those stats, if they're good formulas, consider a ton of different things, and then they have to massage it into a value that makes them comparable. So if a guy has a good tackling ability, how well does that compare against a running back's running ability? And then when they go smack, how well does the result come out? You would hope a good tackler is going to make the play even against a good running back, but maybe that good running back has a special ability, sidestep or spin, that gives them a better chance of breaking that stat. That's the stuff that I'm building in. Because like I said, I've already built the formulas. I have a game I already designed that I'm really pretty proud of. But it's a tabletop game, so I'm converting a lot of that stuff to work in my game, to pull it in, and then have the game calculate its results based on those same stats. Oh yeah, I could just do that. Because they're just hiring random guys who write formulas. Yeah. And it don't work that way. I would love to be I think stats analysis is fun. I had a great time writing those formulas. They're complex as heck, and I have all these, it's built on an Excel spreadsheet, and I've got this page I got a page for every position: quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs, and defensive players. And then each one of those has like 30 columns, and those 30 columns are referencing like 5 pages of data, and in each column has 5 or 6 or 7 data points, and some of those data points are used in other data points, and then it goes tackling, and then it goes more data points and calculations, blah blah blah, add together, pass coverage, blah 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 blah, pass rush. It's like, so I have all these data points that are using other pages that add up to create the actual data points that are used. And those are all highlighted. So all my spreadsheet says, okay, all the red ones are actual game data points. And then those data points are summarized with the player on another page. So the player has his 5 stats, and it'll say tackling, rushing, blah, blah, blah. And it just pulls it from the different columns in the other areas. And then there's another one that calculates the salary of that player based on what all those stats mean in the game. And then I have another page that builds all my teams for play testing. And that one goes through and says, okay, I need to fill these positions. I have a function formula in there that says I need as many teams as you can get from the data I have. And, as many teams as you can get from the data I have that sets the salary cap at 30 million. And you need to fill these positions. So the formula runs through trying to fill all those positions up from all the players. And its objective is to try to hit as close to 30 million as possible on every one of those. Now, it'll often only get if I don't set the salary cap right, if I set it too low, it might only make 1 team. because there won't be enough players to fill it, because they're either too expensive or too whatever. So I have to play with the salary cap. But if I set the salary cap to like a good number, it'll be able to generate me 6 or 7 or 8 dummy teams that I can actually play test. And that's what I did. I had it generate a bunch, and then I could put them on the table and go play the game and have them all play. And I was sitting there going, I could probably, if I wanted to, I could try to predict games. I don't know if I could actually predict games, but it would be fun to apply real life stats to my formulas and see if I could actually predict games with it. I mean, in essence, if my simulation, when I get this actual simulation to work, and it's using my stats and my formulas, it's based on how they played the previous season, though, right? You don't have current season data. I mean, I guess I could try to put in like the current season data up to a point, but then it's not very good data, because if you try to estimate on current season in week 1 or 2 or 3, you're not going to have any real data except the previous season's data. And but still, it'd be cool to try. It's fun, but you can't just be a nobody saying, "Hey, I want to go be an NFL data analyst." Those guys, I have 50 years of statistical programming education. That's what they want. They want you to have like a statistical analysis, degree from Harvard, and you have to have 5 years of experience, or 10 years if it's the NFL probably. And yeah, there's nobody who wants my skills. And again, it's my word against I have no proof. I've never done it for anyone professionally. I just do it for myself because I'm making games. But so there's no really. It's still fun to do. I love making those formulas. Sometimes I feel like things like the QB formulas and stuff, I don't use those. In my logic, I don't have the QB rating in my stuff. I've learned, you look it up on Google what they use in the QB rating, and I'm like, but that doesn't consider this or that. So my players use the values that I prefer to generate values. And for my ratings, technically it's the salary. They all, if they're really well, they got a high salary, they got the highest salary in my game, then they got the highest rating for that player. So if whatever the salary maximum is, the guys with the highest salary are the best rated based on their stats. And the thing is, you can never count on previous seasons. I mean, look at Russell Wilson. He screwed the Denver Broncos up, right? And he had a good seasons the previous seasons. I don't know. Maybe my stats, I could have put all of his stats in and then looked at his salary and go, dude, he only comes out like 15th. Called up the Broncos and said, hey guys, no. He's actually pretty crappy. It's just hidden in all the other crap. Don't do it. And they would go, who's this weirdo? Click. But go work for EA. Their lousy football game. The thing is about EA, they're great at the visuals. Their game looks fantastic. And anybody who tells you their game does not look great is stupid. I'm just telling you. If you don't think their game is impressive, you don't know game. You don't know how hard it is to program graphics. They have spectacular graphics, and I will never knock them for that. And they are ahead of everything I've seen so far. There's some guys out there trying to do pretty good, and they're coming up with stuff. But their back end is, they don't. It's not a great overall game. I wish I could do what they can do graphically, because I think I'm going to do. My game will be better simulating. Okay, here's the problem with those. Here's what I don't like about control games, simulated play games, which is pretty much what EA's, Madden is. Simulated play games are, the AI is still stupid. Nobody's come up with a good. I don't know if it's because they make it soft so that a good player is a person who gets really good is just always going to win. Because if you ever look at YouTube, people playing Madden, they're usually pretty good, and they'll play like 2-minute quarters, and they win like 28-10 every. Their score is big. The scores are kind of sort of realistic, but they always just destroy teams in 2-minute quarters. That's ridiculous. That means if they played a full game, they'd be winning like 100 and something to 20 or 30. They'd be blowing the other teams out. And if AI is that bad, you just end up in a shootout playing with other people. And if the other person's not, they haven't mastered it like you have, then it's going to be a blowout every time. So I don't think game simulation is there yet. My feeling is the absolute best players in Madden world playing with the absolute best team in the game. Statistically with their own built-in whatever logic, should maybe win by 20 to 30 points a game, which is a lot, but that's over a 15-minute quarter. If they play 2-minute quarters, they should be having a bunch of 0-0, 7-0s, 10-3 games. Just really small scores. And that's if they're like a great player playing with a great team. Because basically you have to be that guy who makes your team a little bit better. And if the simulation just runs on its own, they would still win most of the time, even without you. But they might not get as many points because you've made them a little better because you've gotten really good at Madden, right? You do have an effect. But that's how it should be. It should be realistic. And games like that you can control, they're not. People learn to master them and then they're stupid. And it's just frustrating for new players. Some of them will keep changing the difficulty, like Retro Bowl on the phone, or I don't know how Super Tiny Football does it, but it's kind of the same. But Retro Bowl, you can have it do adjustable difficulty. So if you're winning a lot, it gets harder and harder and harder and harder. But if you're losing a lot, it'll get easier and easier and easier. So it'll eventually get to a point where you're kind of winning pretty consistently. You kind of go up, go down, whatever. But again, it don't feel good because the game's constantly changing. When you're playing crappy and you're winning, or playing against a bad AI and you're winning, you're like, oh, well, I'm playing the bad AI. So you up the difficulty and now you're losing all the time. It's like, you try to get better. Yeah, you kind of match up to it, but then it has a simulated defense. Oh God, that's so bad. It's like, if the other team is really good, they score every time. They just score every time. You're like, what is that? Is like, if they're a good team, they'll score every freaking time, making you have to score every freaking time. But no, they will always jump in front of your passes, and you'll be throwing interceptions like every other play because they're faster than all your players. They're better than all your players. Yeah, they're so bad. Simulations are bad. When you control the guys, they're either over adjusting to make it impossible for you, or they're too easy. And so yeah, it's just simulations are better, not play simulations. Create industry transport and troop units with research. You mean like are you saying like a war game, like some kind of a fighting game? The U.S. would never switch sides to China, Russia, and the North Korea. That would be like so unrealistic. There's just nothing in all of existence that would make them a World War III simulator. The U.S. I don't think there's any conceivable, logical reason why the U.S. would ever fight on the side of China, Russia, and North Korea. It just would never, it just wouldn't happen. It's not, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it would take, I can't even picture it. There's nothing that would make that happen. I could see them switching sides maybe if, I don't know, Great Britain and Africa went at it. Maybe they'd switch sides between the two. I don't know, but they're allies with Great Britain. I can't imagine them fighting on any side that would ever go against Great Britain or Israel. Unless those two are fighting each other, I can't imagine the U.S. ever fighting against Great Britain. We're like really good friends that definitely disagree sometimes. They have their problems with each other. Usually, they don't like each other's current leader or whatever. But we're always on the same side. I mean, it's just the way it's been since forever. Not ever since ever since we took the U.S. away from Great Britain. I think we've pretty much made friends. See, now, in that scenario, I still think the U.S. wouldn't ever go against Israel, though there's a lot of people in the U.S. who think we should. There's people, for some reason, who think we should be on the other side, but the U.S. will never go against Israel down there. But if it's just a game with Israel versus the Middle East, I mean, yeah, I could see, a war game might be interesting to try, but it would be a tactical game. I would never, I don't think I could. I prefer tactical simulation style games versus, well, that's not always true. I mean, no, I do. I don't like live action control games. They just, I don't know. I've never been like, I'm not a first person shooter guy. I would never make a first person shooter. I do like RPGs where you have a guy hack and slashing like Diablo and what are those Path of Exile and those kind of games. I like those games. I play Grim Dawn, but generally there's enough RPGs out there, and honestly, I couldn't think of how I would make an RPG better or different enough. There's no niche for me to fill there. There's enough people doing enough things. RPGs, there's 1,000. Now, I do have a game in mind for my next game, which who knows when that's going to happen, but I've already started the design work on it. I still sit down and update and add ideas and start building the design plan. I do have a game plan in mind for an AFK game that is actually a good AFK game. I have never seen a good AFK game. There's 1,000 AFK games. They're all crap. None of them are AFK, by the way. Nobody knows what AFK means. But I have a great idea that I'm building it up in my mind and writing it down and laying it out. I'm psyched to start building that one too. But this football game, I'm more psyched, obviously. That's why I started it. But I'm going to finish one game first, and then if I can make enough money, I'll start another game. Hopefully it's enough to at least eat. Hopefully. Yeah, see, that's the thing. There's a lot of war games out there, and that's another one. I don't know that there's really a niche to fill. I mean, there's a lot of people making those games. Yeah, they could be done different or made. But when I play games like that, like, I don't know how I would make it better. You know, say XCOM. I like tactical games. When I played XCOM for the hours and hours and hours and hours and hours that I did, when I beat it, and I just enjoyed it the whole time, and I didn't ever look at it and go, this game's flawed, this game's got something I don't like. And I haven't found something that would motivate me to play something better. And plus, all those games have such good graphics, and I'm not going to be able to design a game with that kind of graphics all the way through it. I'm maybe someday I'd have to work for a big AAA title company who, you know, I'm just one of 1,000 developers, and that's not fun. Now, if I had my own company, if I made enough money off one of my games and created my own company, then I hired my own developers, and then I could work on a game with them. Then I could design these games and get quality developers who could help me build the games that I have in mind. I wouldn't mind doing that. I would give up my... I like the development process, but I like the design, the build, the logic, the functionality aspect of things more. And I would rather build and design the games than to program them. Just because I'd sit down with them, plan it out, map out how the games are to look, and the look, feel, and play of the game, and work with them to make sure that we get what we want. But I realize that one person can't develop a great game. You want a great game, you need resources. Your DVR? Your digital video recorder? You still use those? All right, man. You have a good one. In fact, it is 10:35. I'm going to go to bed. You helped me to burn up my last minutes. That's all right. I'll finish this tomorrow. Till then, Ariano, throw away. You have a good one, man. Go get your DVR. I'm going to go sleep. Till next time, God bless.